The news with Gary Liberatore and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good Friday morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
And you were mentioning another extreme heat today, but hopefully some relief for the weekend, right?
Yeah, things are going to start cooling down Saturday and Sunday. Still, I would call it hot and humid, maybe not extremely hot and humid. Let's take a look, though, first at what you can expect throughout your day today. Let's take a look at those temperatures. Sitting at 71 degrees, very balmy at Griffiths and Rome right now. 76 already in Syracuse at 5 a.m. Isn't that crazy? Look how warm these temperatures are to start. So today we're tracking these warm temperatures and, at least for the most part, plenty of quiet weather to start the day. We look right here at the Yorkville Battery Live radar. Not a whole lot of activity taking place, but I zoom out a little bit. I want to focus more on this part of this system. Basically, the back edge of this heat dome is going to start eroding. And this is one of the storms in the back side of it. So we're going to watch this area right here. This will likely pass in this vicinity here heading south, but based off of the ingredients present and the disturbance in the atmosphere, just a heads up, it might get a little stormy this evening. Make sure you're weather aware. We'll be talking about that storm potential today, the risks associated with it, plus, of course, how that weekend is shaping up, at least when it comes to the 4th of July and beyond, straight ahead. Gary?
Eric, thanks. And don't forget, the Storm Tracker 2 forecast is never more than 10 minutes away each morning. Now to the...
This live look of downtown Cooperstown is brought to you by the Leatherstocking Credit Union.
Welcome back to Sunrise on this Friday, July 3rd. Time now is 5:14. Here's a look at your weather on the way as we talk about what to expect with any impactful weather in the short term. Now, obviously, the most impactful weather the next few days will be taking place today. And I'll have a lot more regarding storm potential coming up in my full forecast in just a few minutes. But I want to talk a bit about the 4th of July, as this is a very important day here in our country, and I wanted to give you guys an idea of what's going to be taking place. So we have a couple of storms to track this evening, and then a round of showers and storms overnight. Now notice here, we got this cold front coming through. This is Saturday at 5:30, so much of this spotty shower and storm activity takes place in the morning and early afternoon Saturday. The closer you get to sunset, the drier it gets and the much more comfortable it gets, with temperatures going from the mid to upper 80s down into the mid 70s. Following that, Sunday looks pretty dry before rain arrives again on Monday. So again, the forecast this weekend: drying up in the afternoon, partly sunny on Sunday. When it comes to that 4th of July forecast here, looking for some fireworks too. By 9 p.m., it's 75 and mostly clear. This is almost perfect weather for watching some fireworks, Gary.
A lot of people applauding you, that's for sure. Eric, thank you. Many area residents spent Thursday cleaning.
Know before they go. The Storm Tracker 2 bus stop forecast.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Happy Friday, everybody. Today we are starting out very warm, temperatures in the 70s and a pretty dry start, but we got to keep our eye to the sky this afternoon for the possibility of strong, maybe a few severe storms. We look at the radar and satellite. Basically what we're looking at here is the decaying of the massive heat dome that has been bringing us all that heat and humidity this week. Now, it's not going to suddenly break down. We're back into the 60s and 70s, but it's a gradual process. And the erosion of it is going to start shifting some of these storms a bit farther south than yesterday, which is probably one of the quietest days we've had all week, actually. But when it comes to the storm risk, you can see here areas in yellow are a level 2 out of 5 risk for severe storms. Dark green, level 1 out of 5. Basically, we're watching the potential for these storms to shift their way into the Mohawk Valley, southern tier, Pennsylvania area with a few stray storms to the north. After that, this is the storm potential for tomorrow. This is looking a lot nicer here in our local area. Yes, a couple of rumbles of thunder in the morning and early afternoon Saturday, but by the evening it's drying up and the front shifts its way south. So, how is the 4th of July looking for you guys? Well, it's not going to start out too great. I mean, we are dodging some rain, some thunderstorms in the morning. But notice as we progress throughout the afternoon, the conditions only get better. And of course, just in time for fireworks, we're in the 70s. It dries up and there's clear skies. So we've got a great opportunity for that tomorrow. But let's zoom into the whole weekend here. First, let's start out with today. And we've got a couple of these stray thunderstorms here. And again, just make sure you're able to receive warnings sent right to your phone using our Storm Tracker 2 app right there. It was on top of it on Tuesday and on Wednesday. It'll be on top of it today. And of course, if things look pretty suspicious, we will be live streaming on Facebook or YouTube, or we will be on our broadcast if it's during 5 and 6 o'clock. Still though, you can see those storms rolling through, eventually drying up a little bit. And then we got a couple of showers and storms to track Saturday morning. See it arriving right here. After that, it slowly dries up. This is 3 p.m. here. Now, the front in this model is a bit delayed. I do think a lot more of the area dries up closer to 3 to 5 p.m. But you can see here, regardless, closer to 8, 9 p.m. after sunset, it's dry and remains dry and sunny for Sunday. Your 7-day forecast, after today and for parts of tomorrow, it's going to start feeling a bit more like a typical July, early July that is. No longer seeing some incredible heat, no excessive heat warnings, and it won't feel like you're in a sauna outside. And so that's already a plus. By next Wednesday and Thursday, we're only in the mid-80s and slightly less humidity, so not too bad.
Get through today and that heat starts to go down at least a little bit.
On the lower end of the roller coaster, Gary.
Eric, thanks. Well, just in time. And good morning. Thank you for joining us for this half hour. Today is the third of 3 straight alert days. And Eric, just how hot are we talking today?
Very hot, Gary. Not as hot as yesterday and on Wednesday, but it's still going to be hot and humid, highs in the 90s. Let's take a look, though, at what's going to be taking place when it comes to both the heat as well as the storm potential in your forecast in a minute today. So yesterday, the big story was the heat. We weren't too concerned about storm risk, and sure enough, the storms, thankfully, were largely held at bay to the north. However, today it's a different story. Storms may be a bit more important in the forecast. Regardless, it's a warm start. We're in the 70s this morning, and we're going to climb into the 90s this afternoon with high heat and humidity continuing in our day 3, likely above 90 and hitting that official criteria, at least we reason it for a heat wave here in central New York. Downtown Utica, lots of sunshine, radar looking quiet right now. We're closely watching some storm activity to the west. These clusters right here we're closely watching, and that could move into central New York by the afternoon and evening. And of course, strong, possibly severe storm potential. Can't rule that out. Again, a very hot and humid day today, and with the storm risk this afternoon, a great tool to have at your disposal, our Storm Tracker 2 app. You can scan it using the QR code here, as well as on the bottom of your screen throughout any of my weather forecasts. You can download it at any point, and again, it's very useful, especially for warnings. If you're in a severe thunderstorm warning, you'd be the first to know. Again, what a great tool to have. Gary?
Eric, thank you. The holiday weekend has been...
Know before they go. The Storm Tracker 2 bus stop forecast.
This live look of downtown Cooperstown is brought to you by the Leatherstocking Credit Union.
Happy Friday, everybody. As we take a look at our photo of the day today, I think this is probably a photo that symbolizes the last few days very eloquently. This is a photo here sent in to us by Stephanie of a great shot in Westmoreland of the blazing hot sunshine. I can feel the heat coming off of this photo here over the fields of Westmoreland. If you have a hot photo to share with us, I know sometimes it's a bit difficult to kind of really encapsulate high heat in a photo like you can do with storms, with sunshine, with snow, and you name it. But I think overall, this is a great one here. You can send it to WKTV.com/weather/pics if you want to submit your own. And of course, as always, this photo and every photo every morning brought to you by GPO Federal Credit Union. So look at the radar right now. It is starting out pretty dry early today, but this is going to change, especially in the afternoon. We're tracking a few storms rolling through. We'll break down that risk for you coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Newly released body camera
New York's most dependable weather team. Here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning. Happy Friday. Very important weekend ahead of us. So let's talk a bit about that, but as well as the storm risk today. So a lot to get through. Let's first take a look right now at the radar and satellite. You can see, of course, a lot of that storm activity in the Chicago area, the Michigan, Wisconsin, Iowa locations. Either way, a lot of storm activity here. Basically, right along this dashed black line, that's that trough or ripple in the atmosphere. That ripple is expected to shift its way eastward later today. So we're watching mainly this area right here, that leading edge of it, as we head into this afternoon. Because of that, you can see here this yellow zone is a level 2 out of 5 risk for severe weather. The biggest concerns being, of course, with all this heat and humidity, lots of thunder and lightning and some strong, possibly damaging winds along with these storms. So we got to make sure we're weather aware today. And as always, can't stress it enough, make sure you have ways to receive weather warnings sent right to your phone. And in my opinion, the best way to do it is by using our Storm Tracker 2 app. It will, in a lot of times, beat the actual warning itself getting put out through text messages and other means. So you'll be the first to know. So when it comes to the storm risk tomorrow, notice a lot of that high potential is down to the south. We got maybe a stray thunderstorm chance in the Mohawk Valley, but basically, storm risk lowers throughout the day. In fact, it slowly dries up throughout the 4th of July here. So by the time we hit close to firework time between 8, 9, 10 o'clock, it's going to be dry and temperatures will be in the 70s. But again, we are still following some rain potential over the next few days. Today, it's mainly storm risk, scattered storm risk this afternoon between roughly 2 and I would say close to 8 p.m. It's that window where a straight thunderstorm possibly rolls through. Then after that, it does dry up overnight until early Saturday morning. We have our next round of a brief passing shower and then scattered showers in the late morning, early afternoon. Now this is a snapshot at 3 p.m. Now the front here is a bit more delayed in this model, but regardless, you had closer to 5, 6 p.m. It's drying up and temperatures are falling into the mid-70s. So it's going to be a very nice evening for fireworks, and it remains dry overnight and pretty much dry and sunny for all of Sunday before our next round of rain arrives on Monday. So your 7-day forecast after this final alert day so far, we're going to start seeing some drier conditions and cooler conditions for the middle of next week with highs only in the mid-80s. We'll be right back.
News with Gary Liberatore and meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us here on this Friday morning. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
And the excitement has been building for quite a while for America's 250th, and boy, you are decked out this morning. Looks great.
I got my American tie here. I'm unbuttoned so you guys can see the full display here. I mean, the flag itself is kind of cut off, but there you go. Got the
beautiful
eagles and the flag and the mountains in the background. Shout out to one of my former summer school teachers for donating me this tie before. So
good for him or her.
Yes, regardless of the weather today, tomorrow, it's going to start drying up, looking a bit nicer.
Beautiful.
But here's a look at what we can expect today. It's going to be hot and humid, just like the last few days in your forecast in a minute. Taking a live look outside in Oneonta, a beautiful sunrise this morning. The temperatures today, if you plan on just going out and doing like a nice walk in the morning, I mean, look at this. This is a beautiful morning walk weather for the start of the day. However, as we head into the afternoon, as we mentioned, that heat and humidity really pick up. Plus, we're still closely watching storm potential this afternoon. Yesterday, We expected a bit more of a quiet day. That panned out. Today, I do think there's a better opportunity for storms compared to Thursday. So we're going to watch this cluster of storms right here as they slowly shift eastward. And we'll provide more details on the storm risk coming up in a few minutes. But again, it's very warm, very humid, highs in the 90s, feels like temperatures in the mid to upper 90s. And while we're still tracking that storm potential today, as always, be sure to download our Storm Tracker 2 app to get warnings sent right to your phone, both Tuesday and Wednesday. As those severe storms move through the area, our phone was alerting you guys for every single storm that came through. So again, if you're out and about and you need the ability to get information, this is the best way to do it. You can scan it here as well as below me, pretty much in any weather segment here on Sunrise. Gary?
Thank you, and don't forget the Storm Tracker 2 forecast is never more than 10 minutes away each morning. Now to the...
Know before they go. The Storm Tracker 2 bus stop forecast.
This live look of downtown Cooperstown is brought to you by the Leatherstocking Credit Union.
Welcome back to Sunrise. Time now 6:14. Here's a look at your weather on the way over the next few days, which, yes, I know we have storm potential today, but at least for now, I do want to fast forward to a very important day in our near term, of course, that being the 4th of July, in that forecast for the entire day and the entire weekend. So, yes, here's that storm risk today. As that pushes through, we're tracking some rounds of showers in the morning and early afternoon. But notice, this is around 6 p.m. on Saturday. This cold front works through, things begin to dry out. And basically, that's the story of Saturday. Drying up in the afternoon. Sunday, so far looking dry and still on the warm side in the mid-80s, but on the humid side for the 4th of July. So, as we time out the day, you can see here we got a few storms in the afternoon. By 5 p.m., partly sunny, and then mostly clear skies just in time for fireworks. And temperatures will also be in the mid-70s, so probably one of the nicest conditions you could ever expect for watching some fireworks on a very important day. Gary?
Boy, is that good news, that's for sure.
Thankfully, yes.
Yeah. Eric, thanks. Well, many area residents.
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning on this Friday, July 3rd. Time now 6:19, and we got another hazy, hot and humid day ahead of us. We begin with a live look in Oneonta of the beautiful sunrise this morning and a very warm start. Temperature at 71 degrees to start, and that'll climb quickly into the 80s and eventually low 90s in a lot of locations. So the radar and satellite this morning, we're tracking a lot of activity here out to the west. This is going to slowly move its way eastward into New York State, heading into this afternoon and eventually through the overnight with some lingering showers and eventually a trailing cold front to track as well. But for the time being, let's talk storm risk. The biggest concerns are mainly in the southern tier, or better yet, twin tiers, if you move closer to the Pennsylvania border there. And it extends all the way to just north of the Thruway corridor here. That's the slight risk, level 2 out of 5. And level 1 out of 5 in the dark green. So regardless of what the locations are, we're just tracking a round or two of some thunderstorms this evening that could tap into that high instability in the atmosphere. Now, this is a look at what tomorrow looks like, and I think for a lot of you, this looks very promising. A lot of the storm activity shifts its way south. We're not out of the woods for any rumbles of thunder for the morning or afternoon by any means, but we're going to slowly dry up as we head closer to the evening tomorrow. So today, lots of sunshine, highs in the low 90s. Feels like temperatures in the mid to upper 90s here. We got a couple of scattered thunderstorms rolling through as we head closer to sunset. And then after that, it does dry up. Now, here's a look at Saturday morning, a couple of spotty showers. Now, I'm also watching this with you guys right now. This is brand new data that just came in the last minute or so. So let's see here. So far, the pattern shows an early afternoon rain shower. And still, the story is, as we get closer to sunset, it continues to dry up a little bit. Now, following that front, it's actually going to be pretty quiet heading into Sunday with plenty of sunshine, maybe some wispy high-level clouds here, and remain dry at least until Monday. So for that 4th of July planner, this in the morning hours, maybe not too great. We're dodging a couple rain showers, and especially in the early afternoon. Then as we head closer to the later afternoon and early evening, the conditions continue to improve. Temperatures fall into the 70s, drier conditions move in, and it will look pretty fantastic for any evening fireworks. Your 7-day forecast, it does remain dry Sunday, rain showers on Monday, and then for much of Wednesday and Thursday next week, a lot more sunshine and more seasonable temperatures in the 80s. So finally saying goodbye to this heat wave after several days, Gary, and I think a lot of us can hopefully turn down the ACs a little bit, because my goodness, it's been quite a necessity the last few days.
The nice and cool 80s, right?
That's right.
Eric, thanks. Well, just in time for the holiday travel. Welcome and good morning. Thank you for joining us for this half hour. And this is the third of 3 straight alert days. And Eric, many people thankful that this will finally be ending later today.
Yes, I mean, we're going to see some slight decreases in temperatures this weekend, and more importantly, storm risk with all that heat humidity kind of whisking away. But here's a look at what we can expect today at least, because yes, as Gary mentioned, we are going to be in an alert day, and it will start taking place in the afternoon. This morning, nothing really too concerning. Temperatures are starting out in the 70s, officially 70 in Oneonta, with some sunshine early today and dry conditions. So it's not too hot, not too busy weather-wise. That's going to change in the afternoon. We're going to start to see some storm activity move in from the west. We can actually see some of those stray storms out here pretty much in the southern portions of Canada here, moving toward Toronto. And this location right here, we're going to be closely watching as this system pushes its way eastward. So, again, this morning, nothing really notable. This afternoon, high heat, high humidity, and storm risk. So with those storm risks expected today, as always, be sure to have a way to receive weather alerts on the go, especially earlier this week with all the storms we saw Tuesday and Wednesday. The one device that was basically sending out warnings as they happened, our Storm Tracker 2 app. You can scan it using the QR code here, as well as on the corner of your screen during any of our weather newscasts. Gary?
Very handy.
Very, very handy.
That's for sure. The holiday weekend has begun with fire.
This live look of downtown Cooperstown is brought to you by the Leatherstocking Credit Union.
Good morning. Happy Friday, July 3rd. We are taking a look at our photo of the day today, which I think really encapsulates how hot it is. And I feel like it's kind of difficult sometimes to really take a picture of heat, but I think a lot of you might look at this one and you might already feel the humidity just radiating off this picture. This is a shot here taken in Westmoreland by Stephanie Hunt. An amazing photo here, I guess, really encapsulating the intense heat and humidity the last few days. So if you have photos like this you'd like to send to us, no matter how difficult it is to try to picture something like this, go to WKTV.com/weather/pics. That photo and every photo every morning brought to you by GPO Federal Credit Union. So today starts out pretty dry. Here's a live look at the radar. Now, this afternoon, it's a different story. We're tracking a few storms and certainly high heat and humidity. We're going to break that down, plus have more details on that 4th of July forecast straight ahead. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Newly released body
New York's most dependable weather team. Here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good morning. It's a warm start to your day today. Lots of sunshine. We are still tracking, though, the possibility of a few storms this evening, a bit more active compared to yesterday's mostly dry day. Let's take a look right now in Oneonta, a beautiful scene here of the early morning sunshine and a very warm start with temperatures already in the 70s and continuing to climb. So we know today is going to be hot and humid, but we do run the risk for some storm potential. See all this storm activity here out of the west? That's going to shift its way east later today, and with that in mind, with all this high heat and humidity, lots of fuel for these storms to tap into. So similar to the risk potential on Tuesday and on Wednesday, these are the risk zones here. Level 2 out of 5 for the areas in yellow, level 1 out of 5 for the areas in dark green. Basically, it's just one of those scenarios. We're just on standby for storms to come in, tap into all that heat and humidity, and have the potential of producing strong to possibly severe weather. So this all takes place during the afternoon time frame between 2 and roughly around 8 p.m. or so. So be sure to make sure you have weather alerts on your Storm Tracker 2 app. Again, can't stress it enough. When you're out and about and you're not glued to the TV, you need another way to receive weather warnings. And that's the best way, aside from, of course, watching live streams we have or any other methods. So when it comes to the weather for tomorrow, you notice here we have some storm risk mainly to the south. That is for this cold front moving through much of the eastern half of the U.S. However, where we are, it doesn't appear to produce anything very notable. I'll show you what I mean here. So our Skycast today, tracking a few scattered thunderstorms. Again, we're watching the potential of them turning strong to severe. Overnight tonight, it does dry up. Now, tomorrow morning, a few spotty showers. Our in-house model here is trending this rainfall a little later in the morning. We're talking late morning, early afternoon, as you see here. I think it might go a little bit earlier, maybe 10 to noon, and some lingering spotty showers between noon and 2. But by 3, 4, 5 p.m., the showers become a bit more isolated, and eventually by sunsets, it's going to be drying up entirely. So if you have any fireworks plans, so far it's looking pretty nice. Sunday also looking very dry too. So again, as a recap for your 4th of July, the morning, maybe not the best weather, but as we progress throughout the day, the conditions continue to get better and better. Temperatures cool into the 70s by the evening as well. So your 7-day forecast, again, Sunday is dry, it's sunny, rain showers Monday, and then next week, no serious heat, Gary. We're in the 80s, which, I mean, it's so funny. We call that a cool down now with how hot and humid it's been the last few days. But yes, this weekend, just watch out for maybe some showers early on the 4th of July. It does dry up later in the day.
I can't remember a longer stretch of this heat.
It's been quite a few days.
Yeah, that's for sure. Eric, thanks. Well, a local business.
The news with Gary Liberatore.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us here on this Friday afternoon. I'm Gary Liberatore.
And I'm Storm Tracker 2 meteorologist Eric Gage.
A lot to get to today, but today is the end of the heat wave, just in time for the 4th of July tomorrow.
Yeah, and today, still looking very hot, very humid. Tomorrow, slightly cooler, but it's a gradual process. Let's take a look at the latest conditions outside right now. First off, a live look at downtown Utica. It's a bit of a sunny, very warm stretch of weather here locally, and temperatures on paper in the upper 80s here in the Mohawk Valley. Feels like temperature already in the 90s yet again. So another hot and humid day. If we hit 90 degrees, we'll officially be in a heat wave, which will be 3 days straight above 90 degrees. I don't see any issue with us hitting that number in the next few hours. A look at the Yorkville Battery Live radar. We are dry right now. I zoom out to the west a little bit. We have some storm activity here. I'm going to watch this round of rain showers as they roll through, say, maybe closer to 3, 4, 5 o'clock. I'll do some storm tracks on this coming up in just a few minutes. But again, just a heads up this afternoon to watch out for a few scattered thunderstorms, which will weaken overnight. Now, we do expect a few scattered showers, maybe rumble of thunder for the 4th of July. But how will the timing impact your 4th of July plans? We'll track that for you coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. The
WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Good afternoon. Happy Friday. We got a busy weekend ahead of us. A lot of 4th of July activities planned, and most importantly, how's the weather going to be for any of those events? Let's jump into it. Today, the hot and humid stretch continues. Almost 90 again here in Oneonta. A live view from the tower cam on Hartwick College. Now we look at the radar and satellite. We got a lot of busy weather here out to the west. And as I mentioned, we were basically on the fringe of storms yesterday. We're tracking a few storms heading into this evening. After that, we got to be dodging all this activity here to the west in the weekend. Despite what looks very busy, we actually could luck out with some decent weather, at least for some portions of the weekend. We zoom in right here. We're going to closely watch some of these storms over the next few hours as they push their way eastward. Again, there is a slight risk for strong storm potential today, similar to Wednesday and Tuesday, but it's more or less, we just have to wait and see when they fire up. There's not a lot of organization with this. There's not one set cold front coming in. So it's just a matter of time before we see some of the storms fire up, and then we'll see what to expect as they do form. This is the storm risk for the 4th of July. Notice heading up the farther north you go, a bit less active you see here. And that's some good news. Now, when it comes to rainfall potential, well, at least for the 4th of July, as you see here, we do expect a few spotty storms in the early part of the afternoon. It will gradually clear out and calm down. By 5 p.m., we're still in the 80s. 9 p.m., it's 75 and clear. Perfect conditions for watching the fireworks. It's just that, unfortunately, as we head into Saturday, it looks to be a bit more of a rainy one here, on and off throughout the morning. Now, Sunday, I mentioned this morning, we were talking about the fact that it's going to be pretty much a sunny day, a quiet day. Well, now we have a couple models hinting that that system that moves through Saturday is going to get shifted its way back up north again. In some locations of the southern valleys, might even see some rainfall. I'm going to keep a close eye on that. I do want to let you guys know of changes that happen as they happen, which new data just came in moments ago. But I'm not going to change my forecast just yet. I don't want to be the bearer of rainy news for this 4th of July weekend. For now, though, I think there's still plenty of signs pointing to a pretty dry Sunday, and I expect that to really pan out for the majority of it, that is. Then next week, we've got some more seasonable temperatures in the 80s and 70s, typical for July. So we're going to say goodbye to the heat wave this week, Gary, and back to more normal conditions next week.
It's rare that you look at 80s and being cool, right?
Isn't that crazy?
Eric, thanks. Well, there's little Richard Engel reporting from Tehran. Meteorologist Eric Gay is joining us now. And Eric, we are heating up.
Yeah, already in the upper 80s here in Rome, pushing 90 in Syracuse and in Oneonta, almost hitting 90 as well. And that's just the temperature itself. We factor in the humidity. We have a dew point in the 70s. That is basically tropical levels. We've pretty much been at that stage for the last 3 days. And since we have hit 90 every single day, if we have that temperature hit 90 again, we'd officially be in a heat wave, 3 consecutive days above 90. Regardless of the actual temperature, you factor in all that humidity, it does feel like 93 out, 94 Syracuse, almost 100 in Dansville, over 100 down in Poughkeepsie and down toward New York City. So it's a widespread heat, and it still is impacting us here locally. Yorkville Battery Live Radar, we are dry right now, but pretty much with every day this week, maybe not so much yesterday, but still, we've just been on edge when it comes to these storms coming in. There's just so much heat, instability, all this fuel in the atmosphere. You get one little storm popping up, and it's got limitless potential to tap into it, which is why we had so much wind damage the last few days. Now, we're seeing a couple of them fire up right now. We got to closely watch them this afternoon and this evening. But there is some good news when it comes to storm risk heading into the weekend. I won't call it completely dry. I mean, the 4th of July might have maybe a straight thunderstorm in the afternoon, but signs are pointing to a drier evening and maybe some nicer weather for fireworks. But either way, you can see this time frame here of storm potential. Again, a great tool to have. Right below me, the Storm Tracker 2 app. If warnings start developing, if you want to be the first to know, this is a great tool to use. If you're not tuned into the TV or on our live streams, we usually cover for these storm risks. But again, we're going to break down that all-important 4th of July forecast coming up in a few minutes. Gary?
Eric, thanks. Families in Waterville
The WKTV Tower Cam is brought to you by the Central Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired. From Central New York's most dependable weather team, here's meteorologist Eric Gage.
Happy Friday, everybody, on this July 3rd. Very important days coming up. Obviously, the 4th of July weekend here, the 250th for the country. And, well, how's the weather going to shape up? Let's start with today. Outside in Oneonta, we have now officially hit the 90-degree threshold. So for Oneonta, I'll have to look back at the official numbers here for the past few days, but this could also officially be a heat wave there. Nonetheless, look at the radar and satellite because we have some storm activity out here and we have some activity out in the Midwest. This is what we're tracking for the weekend. This is what we're tracking for today. We zoom in here. You can see some of these storms starting to fire in. They are weakening here and there, but still, all that has to erode is what's called the cap in the atmosphere. Basically, it's the only thing preventing these storms from tapping into insane amounts of heat and humidity, basically just limitless thunderstorm fuel, which is what's been causing all this severe weather the last few days. So, the risk for strong storms, level 2 out of 5 in the yellow zone. This is for today. So again, just a heads up, make sure you remain weather aware for the storm potential this afternoon. Still think the time frame may be closer to 2-3 o'clock through 8 p.m. Scattered, disorganized clusters of storms. Not consistently stormy, but just, again, keep your eye to the sky. This is what's happening tomorrow. Now, notice a lot of the storm activity to our south. Now, based off of the latest data, I might consider seeing some of this dark green zone get shifted maybe a bit north. I'm talking maybe just south of the Mohawk Valley here. And that's, of course, with some storms coming in the afternoon. So when it comes to that forecast for the 4th of July, well, it's going to be in the mid to upper 80s. We've got a storm chance in the afternoon. As we progress throughout the evening, it's going to slowly dry up just in time for fireworks. In fact, I'll show you right here. So today, well, it's mainly sunny. Here's that storm activity this evening. You can see a couple of those clusters of storms rolling through. After that, it does dry up a little bit, maybe a stray shower in the Adirondacks. Saturday morning, here we go. We start out with maybe a couple spotty showers mixed in with sunshine. The latest model trends have the storms and showers arriving later in the day, which means that as we head closer to the southern valleys here, look at that storm cluster. So again, just based off of the instability in the atmosphere, I wouldn't be shocked if this area gets expanded into that marginal risk or level 1 out of 5 tomorrow. But notice, this is 2:30, still some spotty showers. As we head throughout the afternoon, look at this, it slowly starts drying up, clouds turn to sunshine and eventually clear skies. This is 8 p.m. Much of the area is looking pretty dry and even some clear skies just in time for fireworks. Now, the only difference is the models here are a bit inconsistent on Sunday. Sunday's been looking dry the last few days. Now all of a sudden, two of them are saying, well, it's actually going to rain in the southern valleys because, well, why not? So you can kind of see what we're dealing with in terms of the lack of technological consistency with even 2026 standards with computers here. So this is what we're working with, but this is what we got here for that forecast. I'm not really removing the sunshine chance on Sunday just yet. Still remaining pretty much entirely dry. Regardless, it's a rainy Monday, and then next week's looking a bit nicer in terms of July standards. No alert days for heats, and we'll see more typical July temperatures in the mid-80s. Gary?
Eric, thanks. The local